Meghan Markle's worst nightmare just became reality. Prince William is making his move, and it's absolutely brutal. The future king is pushing forward with a parliamentary plan that will strip Archie and Lilibet of their royal titles permanently, obliterating what Meghan once dramatically called their birthright. This isn't some distant threat anymore, this is happening, and the Sussexes are about to lose the one card they've been desperately clinging to in their California exile. For years, Meghan has weaponized those titles, hasn't she? Every business deal, every Hollywood pitch, every carefully orchestrated photo opportunity has hinged on the fact that her children are technically a prince and princess. She fought tooth and nail to secure those titles, even going behind the palace's back to announce them through People magazine like it was some kind of victory lap. But William saw that move for exactly what it was, a calculated power grab, and it only strengthened his resolve to end this circus once and for all. The heir to the throne has been quietly working behind the scenes for months, building a case that would make it impossible for anyone to argue against him. He's watched his uncle Andrew drag the monarchy through scandal after scandal, and he's watched Harry and Meghan throw grenade after grenade from their Montecito mansion. William's patience has run out. He's done playing nice, done waiting for his father to take decisive action, and done watching the institution he'll one day lead get torn apart by people who claim to want privacy, but can't stop selling out the family for Netflix deals and tell-all interviews. What makes this move so devastating for Meghan is the timing. Just when she thought she'd weathered the storm, just when she believed the royal titles gave her children some kind of permanent status, William is pulling the rug out from under her entire strategy. Those titles were supposed to be untouchable, protected by centuries of royal protocol and tradition. But William has found the loophole, the legal mechanism that will allow him to strip them away, and he's prepared to use it the moment he has the power to do so. Palace insiders are whispering that William has been studying Queen Margrethe of Denmark's playbook, the way she decisively removed titles from her grandchildren to modernize the Danish monarchy. He sees that as the blueprint for what needs to happen in Britain, and Harry and Meghan's children are at the very top of his list. This isn't about punishing innocent kids. This is about drawing a clear line in the sand. If you're not working for the crown, you don't get to profit from it. Meghan must be absolutely reeling right now, because everything she's built in Hollywood has been propped up by that royal connection. Without it, she's just another actress trying to make it in an industry that's already moved on from her. Behind the gilded doors of Kensington Palace, William has been waging a quiet war, and it's been going on far longer than anyone realizes. For months, he's been in heated discussions with King Charles, pushing his father to take the nuclear option against Harry, Meghan, and their children. But Charles, weakened by his brutal cancer battle and desperate for some kind of reconciliation with his youngest son before time runs out, keeps hesitating. That hesitation is driving William absolutely mad, and palace insiders say the tension between father and son has reached a breaking point. William isn't just frustrated, he's furious. He believes his father's soft approach has completely failed, that every olive branch extended to Harry and Meghan has been exploited and twisted into another opportunity for them to attack the family. Remember when Charles secretly met with Harry during one of his brief visits to London? William reportedly warned his father it would end badly, and sure enough, details of that private meeting were leaked almost immediately. Security demands, reconciliation talks, every sensitive detail somehow found its way into the press, and William knew exactly where it came from. Sources close to the future king reveal he's been preparing for this moment for years. He's watched the Andrew catastrophe unfold, seen how indecision and half measures only made things worse, and he's determined not to repeat those mistakes when the crown finally passes to him. William has made it abundantly clear to his inner circle that the moment he becomes King William V, one of his first acts will be to invoke letters patent, the same legal instrument that grants royal titles in the first place, to permanently revoke them from every non-working royal, starting with the Sussexes. The power struggle between Charles and William has become one of the monarchy's worst-kept secrets. While the official line from both Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace is that father and son are completely united, the reality behind closed doors tells a very different story. William has essentially told his father that if he won't act decisively now, then the minute the crown passes, William will finish what Charles was too soft-hearted to complete. It's a brutal ultimatum, but William believes the survival of the institution depends on it. What makes this especially devastating for Meghan is that she genuinely believed time was on her side. She thought if she could just wait out Charles's reign, maybe things would soften, maybe public opinion would shift back in her favor. But she completely miscalculated. William isn't going to be more sympathetic than his father. He's going to be exponentially tougher, more ruthless, more willing to make the hard decisions that protect the monarchy at all costs. Every attack Harry and Meghan launched, every interview where they painted themselves as victims, every passive-aggressive statement released through their spokesperson, only hardened William's resolve. The writing has been on the wall for anyone paying attention, and now that wall is about to come crashing down on the Sussexes. The timing of William's parliamentary push couldn't be more catastrophic for Meghan Markle, and she knows it. Just when she's been desperately trying to rebuild her Hollywood brand after a string of humiliating failures, William is about to demolish the one thing she's been using as her golden ticket: royal legitimacy for Archie and Lilibet. Sources close to the situation say Meghan is privately devastated, and her carefully curated public image of confidence and resilience is crumbling behind the scenes. Think about what this means for her entire California strategy. Every business meeting, every pitch to producers and executives, every attempt to position herself as some kind of royal influencer has relied on the fact that her children carry prince and princess titles. That's been her leverage, her way of staying relevant in an industry that has absolutely no use for failed actresses with canceled Netflix deals and podcasts nobody listened to. The royal connection was supposed to be her insurance policy, the thing that kept her in the room when everyone else wanted her gone. But William is about to rip that insurance policy to shreds, and Meghan can see it coming like a freight train. Industry insiders in Los Angeles have been whispering for months that her meetings aren't going well, that the Duchess title isn't opening nearly as many doors as she thought it would. Hollywood has a short memory and an even shorter attention span, and Meghan's novelty wore off approximately 5 minutes after the Oprah interview stopped trending. The only thing keeping her afloat has been the ability to say her children are technically royals, that she's still connected to the most famous family in the world. When those titles vanish, and they will, what does she have left? A lifestyle brand that never launched? A jam business that became a punchline? A series of failed ventures that proved she has absolutely no idea how to build something without the palace machinery supporting her. The harsh reality is that Meghan has been coasting on borrowed credibility, and William is about to call in that debt with interest. Palace sources reveal that Meghan has been making frantic calls, trying to understand her legal options, desperately searching for some way to fight back against what's coming. But here's the problem: she has no legal ground to stand on. Royal titles aren't a right, they're a privilege granted by the sovereign, and what one monarch gives, another can absolutely take away. William has the law on his side, he has public opinion on his side, and most importantly, he has the unwavering belief that he's doing what's necessary to save the monarchy from people who only want to exploit it. The humiliation Meghan must be feeling right now is almost unimaginable. She thought she'd won by getting those titles announced. She thought she'd secured her children's place in history. But William is about to teach her a lesson she should have learned years ago. You cannot beat the institution, especially when the future king has decided you're a threat that needs to be eliminated. William's fury has evolved into something far more dangerous than simple sibling rivalry or family drama. This is about protecting the monarchy's future from what he genuinely believes are existential threats, and he's convinced that Harry and Meghan pose a greater long-term danger than even the Andrew scandal ever did. The difference is chilling. Andrew's disgrace was contained, finite, a historical footnote that will fade with time. But the Sussexes, they're still out there, still talking, still plotting their next move, and William sees them as a ticking time bomb that could detonate at any moment. Think about it from William's perspective. He watched Andrew's Jeffrey Epstein connections nearly bring down the entire institution. The embarrassment, the legal settlements, the endless media circus, it was a nightmare that damaged the crown's reputation for years. But at least Andrew eventually retreated into obscurity, accepted his fate as a disgraced royal who would never return to public life. Harry and Meghan, on the other hand, have made it abundantly clear they have no intention of fading quietly into the background. Every documentary, every interview, every carefully timed statement released through their spokesperson is another attack on the institution William will one day lead. He sees the pattern, understands their strategy, and recognizes that as long as those titles exist, Harry and Meghan will continue weaponizing them for profit and relevance. They'll keep dangling the royal connection in front of Hollywood executives, keep using it to secure book deals and speaking engagements, keep pretending they're somehow still part of the family, while simultaneously trying to tear it down. William has confided to close friends that the titles absolutely must go, that there's no other option if the monarchy is going to survive the 21st century. He studied the Danish model obsessively, watched how Queen Margrethe decisively stripped her grandchildren of their princely status to modernize and streamline her monarchy. She faced family backlash, endured criticism from traditionalists, but she did what needed to be done. William sees that as the only path forward, and he's prepared to follow it no matter how much personal pain it causes. The future king has made it clear to his inner circle that he views this as a binary choice. Either he acts decisively to remove the titles and eliminate the threat, or he watches the institution slowly crumble under the weight of constant Sussex attacks. There's no middle ground anymore, no possibility of compromise or reconciliation. William tried that approach after the Oprah interview, after the Netflix series, after Harry's book. Every time his attempts at peace were thrown back in his face with more allegations, more media appearances, more poison directed at the family. So now William has shifted into what palace insiders describe as protection mode. He's not thinking about family relationships or brotherhood or what his mother would have wanted. He's thinking like a future monarch whose primary duty is ensuring the crown survives for his own children, and that means cutting out the cancer before it spreads any further. The legal mechanism is already in place, sitting there like a loaded weapon just waiting for William to pull the trigger. Letters patent ratified by Parliament. That's the tool that will end the Sussex children's royal status permanently, and William's legal team has been studying every detail of how to deploy it most effectively. This isn't some vague threat or future possibility. The groundwork has been laid, the precedents have been examined, and the moment William inherits the crown, he can activate this nuclear option within weeks. For anyone who thinks this sounds too drastic or legally complicated, just look at Denmark. Queen Margrethe used the exact same mechanism in 2022 to strip 4 of her grandchildren, Nikolai, Felix, Henrik, and Athena, of their prince and princess titles. She claimed it was about giving them freedom to shape their own lives, but everyone understood the real reason. It was about modernizing the monarchy, streamlining the institution, and making it crystal clear who was working for the crown and who wasn't. William has been obsessed with the Danish model for years now. Palace sources say he views Queen Margrethe as a visionary who had the courage to make brutal decisions that other monarchies were too afraid to attempt. She faced family drama. Her son was reportedly furious about the decision, but she pushed through anyway because she understood that protecting the institution mattered more than keeping everyone happy. That's exactly the mindset William has adopted, and it's why Meghan should be terrified right now. The beauty of letters patent from William's perspective is that it requires parliamentary approval but not extensive debate. It's essentially an executive order from the monarch that gets rubber-stamped by Parliament as a formality. Once William is king, he can issue new letters patent declaring that only working royals and their immediate children retain HRH status and princely titles. Everyone else loses them immediately. No appeals process, no negotiation, just done. Meghan and Harry have been operating under the dangerous assumption that those titles are somehow protected, that once granted they can never be taken away. But that's a fundamental misunderstanding of how the British monarchy actually works. Titles are privileges bestowed by the sovereign, not constitutional rights. What King George V granted through letters patent in 1917, King William V can absolutely revoke through new letters patent in 2026 or 2027. William's team has already wargamed every possible Sussex response. They know Harry and Meghan will scream about discrimination, claim their children are being punished for their parents' decisions, probably threaten legal action in American courts. None of it matters. British royal titles are governed by British law and British tradition, and no California judge has jurisdiction over what the King of England decides to do with his own family's honors. The trap is set, the legal framework is ready, and William is just waiting for the crown to pass to his head. When it does, the Sussex titles will be among the first casualties of his reign, and there's absolutely nothing Meghan can do to stop it. Meghan's nightmare scenario is unfolding exactly as palace veterans predicted years ago, and the irony is almost too perfect. When she bypassed the palace completely and announced Archie and Lilibet's prince and princess titles directly to People magazine back in 2023, she thought she'd pulled off some kind of masterstroke. She believed she'd forced the palace's hand, secured her children's royal status, and won a major victory in her ongoing war with the institution. But that move, that single calculated decision, only accelerated William's determination to end this once and for all. Palace insiders who witnessed the fallout from that People magazine announcement say William was absolutely livid, not just angry livid, because Meghan had essentially declared war on royal protocol, thumbed her nose at the family, and demonstrated yet again that she had no respect for the institution or its traditions. The proper way to handle the title situation would have been through quiet discussions with the palace, formal announcements coordinated with Buckingham Palace, respect for the chain of command. But Meghan doesn't do proper, she does publicity stunts. What she failed to understand, what she still doesn't seem to grasp, is that every aggressive move she makes only strengthens the case against her. Every time she exploits the royal connection while simultaneously attacking the family, every time she uses the Duchess title to hawk products while claiming she wants privacy, every time she positions her children as royals while refusing to actually participate in royal duties, all of it builds William's argument that the titles must be stripped. Royal experts who've watched this saga unfold say Meghan fundamentally miscalculated the British public's tolerance for hypocrisy. You can leave the royal family, you can choose privacy and independence, but you cannot have it both ways. You cannot trash the institution in primetime interviews and Netflix documentaries while simultaneously clinging to the titles and status that institution provides. The British people see through that game. William certainly sees through it, and it's exactly why he's prepared to take such drastic action. The People magazine announcement was supposed to be Meghan's checkmate moment, her way of saying to the palace that she'd won and there was nothing they could do about it. Technically, under the 1917 letters patent issued by King George V, grandchildren of the sovereign are automatically entitled to HRH status and princely titles. So when Charles became king, Archie and Lilibet qualified. Meghan knew this, announced it publicly, and dared the palace to contradict her. But what she didn't anticipate was William's response. Instead of engaging in a public battle, instead of trying to argue about whether the children should use the titles, William simply decided to change the entire system. He looked at the 1917 letters patent and thought, fine, if that's the rule causing all these problems, then when I'm king, I'll issue new letters patent that supersede it. Problem solved. Meghan thought she was being clever, but she was actually handing William the perfect justification for a complete overhaul of the title system. Her victory was actually the beginning of her ultimate defeat. Charles is trapped in an impossible position, caught between his dying wish for family reconciliation and his heir's ruthless determination to protect the monarchy at all costs. The cancer battle has ravaged more than just his body. It's weakened his resolve, clouded his judgment with sentiment, and left him desperately clinging to the hope that somehow, some way, he can make peace with Harry before it's too late. But William is applying massive pressure, essentially delivering an ultimatum that leaves his father with no good options. Act now, or watch me do it the moment I inherit the crown. Palace insiders paint a heartbreaking picture of Charles in his final years, a man who rose to the throne after waiting longer than any heir in British history, only to find himself battling terminal cancer and watching his family tear itself apart. He wants reconciliation so badly he can taste it. He wants to hold his grandchildren, repair his relationship with his youngest son, find some way to end this nightmare before his time runs out. That vulnerability, that very human desire for peace, is exactly what William sees as dangerous weakness. The tension between father and son has become one of the palace's most closely guarded secrets. Officially, they present a united front, matching statements, coordinated appearances, the image of a monarchy in perfect harmony. But behind closed doors, the arguments have been fierce. William has reportedly told his father in no uncertain terms that every concession to Harry and Meghan, every olive branch extended, every private meeting granted has backfired spectacularly. The leaks, the security demands weaponized in the press, the constant exploitation of Charles's desperate hope for reconciliation. William sees it all as proof that his father's approach has completely failed. Charles tried meeting with Harry during those brief London visits, hoping for a breakthrough. William warned him it would end badly, and he was proven right when details of their private conversations mysteriously appeared in American media outlets within days. Charles allowed Andrew back into the fold, let Fergie attend family events, tried the soft approach of quiet rehabilitation. William watched the Andrew scandal explode anyway, saw how half measures and gentle treatment solved absolutely nothing. Now William is essentially running a shadow operation, making it clear to everyone who matters that the moment he becomes king, the entire strategy changes. No more sentiment, no more hoping that love and family bonds will somehow fix everything. Just cold, calculated decisions designed to protect the institution, even if it means permanently severing relationships with family members who've become liabilities. Sources say Charles understands what William is planning and feels powerless to stop it. He knows his son is probably right from a strategic standpoint, knows the monarchy does need to be streamlined and protected from exploitation, but he's a father watching his family disintegrate, and he cannot bring himself to be the one who delivers the final crushing blow to his own son and grandchildren. So he delays, he hesitates, and William grows more frustrated by the day, counting down until the crown passes and he can finally do what he believes must be done. The Sussex children aren't the only targets in William's crosshairs, and that's what makes his plan so absolutely ruthless. Beatrice, Eugenie, and even Prince Andrew himself are all facing the prospect of losing their HRH status under William's brutal modernization agenda. The future king has made it clear to his inner circle that he envisions a radically streamlined monarchy, one where only working royals and their direct heirs retain titles and privileges. Everyone else gets stripped down to ordinary citizen status, no exceptions, no sentiment, no looking back. But make no mistake, even though William's plan sweeps broadly across the entire non-working royal landscape, Harry and Meghan's kids are positioned at the very top of his hit list. This isn't just about modernization or efficiency. This is personal. This is about sending an unmistakable message that if you attack the institution, if you try to profit from royal status while refusing royal duties, there will be consequences that echo through generations. Beatrice and Eugenie have largely stayed out of trouble, kept their heads down, built relatively normal lives despite their titles. They don't trash the family in interviews, don't sign Netflix deals to expose palace secrets, don't write tell-all memoirs painting themselves as victims, but they're still casualties of William's vision because they represent the old model, royals by birth, who contribute nothing to the institution but still carry the prestige and privileges of their status. William has studied other European monarchies obsessively, looking at how Sweden, Norway, and Denmark have all moved toward leaner operations with clearly defined working royals versus those who live private lives. He sees the British monarchy as bloated, vulnerable, weighed down by too many people who can cause scandals without providing any value in return. Andrew proved that. Harry and Meghan proved it even more dramatically. The plan William has been developing would essentially create two tiers: working royals who serve the crown and receive full titles, funding, and security, and everyone else who becomes private citizens. Archie and Lilibet would fall into that second category immediately, losing not just their prince and princess titles but also the HRH designation that Meghan fought so hard to secure. They would become Master Archie Mountbatten Windsor and Miss Lilibet Mountbatten Windsor. Ordinary children of a duke, nothing more. For Meghan, this represents the ultimate humiliation, the complete demolition of everything she believed she'd secured for her children. She's referred to those titles as their birthright, treated them as non-negotiable, weaponized them in every business context imaginable. The thought of having to introduce her children without royal styling, of watching them become nobodies in the hierarchy she once fought so desperately to join, must be absolutely destroying her. William knows exactly how devastating this will be for Meghan, and frankly, he doesn't care. In his mind, she brought this on herself and her children through years of relentless attacks on his family. She made the choice to wage war against the institution, and now she's about to learn that institutions don't lose wars, families do. Hollywood insiders have been spilling tea for months about Meghan's desperate behind-the-scenes strategy, and it all revolves around one thing: ruthlessly deploying the Duchess of Sussex title in every single private meeting, every pitch, every attempt to claw her way back to relevance. Sources who've sat across from her in conference rooms say she drops the royal connection constantly, reminding producers and executives that she's not just another failed actress, she's royalty. Or at least she was banking on everyone believing that narrative. The entire California game plan has been built on the foundation of royal prestige. Every failed venture, every canceled deal, every embarrassing setback has been cushioned by the fact that she could still claim connection to the most famous family on earth. When the Netflix documentary flopped, when the Spotify podcast got axed, when the lifestyle brand became a punchline, she still had the title. She still had the ability to walk into rooms and command attention based purely on who she married and what family her children technically belonged to. But when those titles vanish, and they absolutely will, her entire strategy collapses like a house of cards in a hurricane. Think about what that means practically. No more introducing herself as the Duchess of Sussex. No more leveraging her children's prince and princess status to suggest she's still connected to power and prestige. No more implying to Hollywood executives that working with her means working adjacent to royalty. It all evaporates overnight the moment William signs those letters patent. Industry sources paint a devastating picture of what Meghan's been dealing with behind the carefully curated Instagram posts and staged paparazzi shots. The meetings aren't going well. The pitches are falling flat. Hollywood has fundamentally lost interest in the Sussex brand, and the only thing keeping her marginally relevant has been the ability to play the royal card one more time. But that card is about to be permanently revoked, and everyone in Los Angeles can see it coming. The jam business that became an industry joke, that was supposed to launch with royal backing. The prestige of a duchess putting her name on premium products. The lifestyle brand that never materialized, built entirely on the concept that people would pay premium prices for things endorsed by someone with royal connections. The speaking engagements, the potential book deals, the endless schemes to monetize her position, all of it depends on maintaining that thin thread connecting her to the British throne. When William strips those titles, Meghan doesn't just lose status symbols, she loses her entire business model, her marketing strategy, her way of differentiating herself from the thousands of other washed-up actresses trying to pivot into entrepreneurship. She becomes exactly what she's been fighting so desperately not to be: irrelevant, ordinary, just another Hollywood casualty who peaked with one decent cable television role and couldn't sustain success beyond that. The humiliation will be total and public, and the worst part for Meghan is that she brought every bit of it on herself through years of attacking the very institution she's been exploiting for profit. The endgame is crystal clear now, and it's been visible for anyone paying attention to William's calculated moves over the past few years. He will not rest, will not compromise, will not soften until every single non-working royal loses their titles and the monarchy transforms into the lean, modern institution he envisions for the future. This is his mission, his obsession, the hill he's prepared to die on. And for Meghan Markle, this represents the ultimate humiliation, the final crushing proof that she never really understood the institution she married into, never grasped the rules of the game she thought she could win. William's vision is ruthlessly simple. If you work for the crown, you get the privileges. If you don't, you get nothing. No titles, no HRH status, no security funding, no grace and favor residences, no ability to trade on royal connections for personal profit. The dividing line will be absolute, non-negotiable, and enforced without sentiment or exception. Beatrice, Eugenie, Andrew, Harry, Meghan, and most painfully for the Sussexes, Archie and Lilibet, all of them will be on the wrong side of that line. What makes this so devastating for Meghan is that she genuinely believed she could outsmart the system. She thought she could take the titles, reject the duties, attack the family, and somehow still maintain her position. She thought American-style celebrity rules would apply, that public sympathy and media manipulation could override centuries of British institutional tradition. She was catastrophically wrong, and William is about to make sure the entire world watches her learn that lesson in the most public, humiliating way possible. The modernization plan William has been developing doesn't just strip titles, it fundamentally redefines what it means to be royal in 21st century Britain. He's looking at monarchies across Europe that have successfully transitioned to smaller, more focused operations. He sees how Sweden reduced its royal house to just the direct line of succession. He understands how Denmark's decisive action created clarity about who matters and who doesn't. He's preparing to do the same thing in Britain, and the Sussex situation has only accelerated his timeline. For Meghan, watching this unfold must feel like watching a slow-motion car crash that she's powerless to stop. Every move she's made to secure her position has backfired. Every attempt to leverage royal status has only strengthened William's case for why those titles need to be revoked. Every Netflix documentary, every carefully leaked story, every time she's referred to herself as the Duchess of Sussex while simultaneously claiming she wants privacy, all of it has built the justification for what's coming. The most painful part might be the realization that she had options. She could have played by the rules, could have been a working royal, could have used her platform responsibly within the system, but she chose confrontation over cooperation, chose Hollywood over duty, chose short-term profit over long-term position, and now she's about to pay the ultimate price. William isn't coming for her titles, out of spite or petty revenge. He's coming for them because he genuinely believes the monarchy cannot survive if people like Meghan are allowed to exploit it. And when the future king believes something that deeply, nothing and no one can stop what happens next. The Sussexes are about to discover that you cannot fight the crown and win. You can only lose everything while the institution stands eternal, unbothered, moving forward without you as if you never mattered at all. So what do you think? Is William right to strip these titles? Or is this a step too far? Drop your thoughts below, and make sure you like and subscribe because the next video is waiting. And trust me, you will not believe what we've uncovered about Meghan's latest desperate move. The drama is only getting started.